Welcome back to the 12th transition of the Holy Nights, contemplating, discussing the higher spiritual hierarchies, the higher spiritual forces or cosmic forces, or basically looking deeper into how the spiritual world is composed, and with that also how it is composed within ourselves, like looking at the different components of ourselves, as well as sort of the different developmental stages that we go through. If you study spiritual science, you will learn that each of these 9 spiritual hierarchies above us, these different angel realms, these management levels, as I called them before, that they have sacrificed a part of them. You can visualize this as sort of parental care. They have given something, a part of their powers for us to ascend, to evolve. And yesterday we talked about the seraphim, the spirits of love, and how they have given the power of love, the ability to feel unconditional love within ourselves to us. Today we will move out of these 9 angel realms and look at sort of the highest level there is, what we usually call God or the divine. I want to call this the Trinity, the triune nature of God, the divine Father, Mother, and Child, or the Holy Spirit, the Father and the Child. And we'll get to the symbolism of the Holy Spirit, the Father, and the Son here in a moment. With an open heart and balanced and fully present in our self-awareness, when we're centered, when we're grounded, when we're cleared, it is easy to feel the power of love. It is easy to feel, well, I don't want to say easy, but it is easier to feel these higher powers in us. They work through us as our higher virtues, our better intentions. They give us hope, they give us courage, they empower us to make better choices. And sometimes in times of crisis or in times of desperation, fear, doubt, they can give us life force, they can give us extra power. Those powers that are residing in us, sort of as, these higher faculties that we all have, but yet are on our journey to uncover them within us. So with a closed heart, it's very difficult for us to connect with these aspects of ourselves. And that's why it's so important that we investigate what it is actually that closes our heart, what makes it so difficult or almost impossible for us to even have a single spiritual thought. And when I talk about spiritual thought, I'm talking about anything that is not material, anything that is not material, which is what we have to remind ourselves, that these goals that we have in life, like peace, harmony, love, happiness, joy, those are spiritual goals. Those aren't material goals. Yes, we can argue that some of the material security, that some of the comfort, that some of the, easiness in our life, that can be sort of a stepping stone toward harmony or toward more unity or more love. But it can be argued, that it is this way around, that we have to have physical security or money or, all these things that our ego wants, that they guarantee joy, happiness, and peace. Most of you have already figured this out. So without sort of spiritual routine and this reminding ourselves that the things that we truly desire for ourselves, the things that we want more than nothing else in this world, that those are spiritual goals. Those can only be achieved really if we engage in spiritual thinking. And spiritual thinking doesn't mean that you have to become member of a new age group or do some woo stuff or go to church every day. Doesn't mean that. Building a bridge between the material and the spiritual within ourselves means to actually remember these forces, these powers, these aspects of spiritual reality within us. And that then opens up our understanding. It opens up our consciousness, and more often than not, opens up the way we see life, the way we see ourselves, the way we see the world. Because once we start including those spiritual aspects in our lives, the world looks differently. We can tune into more clarity. We can tune into the ability to discern truth. We can tune into sort of trusting ourselves, knowing what is ours, what isn't, knowing what is good or what is not good for me, understanding people's agendas, having compassion for other people's journeys, recognizing that we are sort of all in the same boat. These are all things that come through spiritual alignment. So if we leave this out of our life, if we don't actually remind or remember that when we address our everyday struggles, really what happens there is that we leave all these higher faculties in us locked up for us, and they do become or appear as a mystery. We have no clue. We feel lost. We feel alone. We don't know what to orient ourselves on. We have no sense for purpose. We have no sense for a greater goal whatsoever. We get caught in our ego's struggle with our inner duality, with this, black and white and good and bad and right and wrong, without realizing that there is a third option, that our reality is actually not just dark or light. So this is the true teaching, really, and the key to unlocking this mystery is that we begin to understand that our reality is a trifold reality. That there is something like a third option at all times, and that third option is really our heart. It is sort of the middle. It is the heart and the mind coming together. It is the light and the dark coming together, within ourselves due to our conscious will, due to us realizing that just because something, is not good for me or is not attractive to me doesn't mean that it's bad for me. Just because some people do not align with my ideas or, have different opinions doesn't mean that they're against me or that they're attacking me. Yeah, just because, I can't seem to harmonize with my 3D reality doesn't mean that 3D reality is bad. Doesn't mean that I'm bad either. Yeah. So we've learned about these different faculties, that reside in us, that when we tune into them, allow us to better connect with reality. Yeah, it augments our reality from black and white to color, if you will. And this is why I brought in this Trinity yesterday, because when we look at sort of what holds the whole universe together, the logos, the word, the idea, and we call this consciousness in spiritual science, that brought everything into existence. What we can find there is a triune reality, something that is composed of, left, right, and the middle, and not either or. This is a very, very important step in our consciousness development, because without this step, we are missing one last very important faculty, and that is to know darkness. To understand darkness, to understand our own darkness. This is sort of the final exams, in your training course, Physical Reality on Earth, is that you begin to understand not just the light forces and how you are sort of more or less striving to, unite with the light or become more like the light, become a reflection of the light, but that you also understand the darkness that works through you and the purpose of that. I call that the confrontation with untruth, unfreedom, and unlove. And recognize that this is a major part of your training course here, this physical incarnation. Because without knowing the dark, without understanding the dark, and I'm not talking about worshiping the dark, obviously, this is not where I'm going with this. I'm talking about learning to discern without knowing how darkness, how these lower forces work through you simultaneously as these higher forces are working through you. And recognizing that this is a part of you as well. And that it is the you, the I am, the conscious soul self in the middle that you need to uncover. Without that, you will forever be sort of victim of your ego's duality. You will not understand what these deeper inner processes that are going on inside of you, why they are there, what they are for. So we've already agreed that our ego, which is something that we are born with, it's part of our physical 3D survival mechanism, not just for the physical, but also for our psyche, to survive. It comes up with a bunch of ideas how to deal with 3D reality, and this mostly happens in our childhood. But what we forget in this, or often don't even uncover until later in life, is that many of these coping mechanisms that we developed when we were young, they don't actually apply anymore once we have acquired higher levels of consciousness. Yeah, our ego is a mechanism, a psychic mechanism, a psychological and physiological mechanism that basically links into the memory of the past, the recorded past, including unfulfilled needs and unfulfilled desires and all that, and creates patterns, to manage that, to manage the unfulfillment, to manage the problems, to manage, the lack, the imperfection, the perceived flaws. And that's why our ego fixates so much on the fear of making mistakes, because when you're stuck in your ego, you do not realize how important it is to reflect on these perceived imperfections, these perceived flaws, because they represent these darker powers that are working through you. And it is only until you embrace them, as sort of part of your training course, as part of the midterms and the challenges on the way, that you can learn to transform them and recognize that these were all there for you to actually gain higher consciousness. They were put into place for you to pay more attention, to wake up, to allow sort of these higher spiritual forces work through you, and help you in letting go of these. And these are, these walls around our hearts that make it so difficult for us. And the ego cements and fortifies these walls because it wants to prevent ourselves from re-experiencing these negative feelings from the past, or these, fears of something negative that hasn't happened yet. And it's understandable, but we also need to, it's okay to have compassion for your ego, but we also need to understand that this is a wall, all right? You're not going to break through that wall if you keep sort of babying your ego. So all these ego patterns are what create these walls around our heart that make it so difficult to walk on this bridge, that basically keep the spirit world from us. And it's okay to have compassion for ourselves and our ego self, why it forms all these walls and cements it and fortifies it. But we have to understand that it works like a wall. It works like a shroud. It makes it impossible for us to connect with any of these things that we call spiritual. And so it is, for many of you, already obvious that by surrendering our egos, we are actually for the first time opening ourselves up for not just our consciousness to grow, but also for true love. True love, the one thing that connects all humans that we all want. And it isn't until then that we can reclaim our eternal self. The eternal self is basically the graduated human spirit being, the graduated human spirit. So once we graduate from this training course here in our human incarnation, that's then when we move on into a higher spiritual hierarchy. Having gone through all these different developmental stages, that we've just learned about in these 12 days. Let me just very briefly recall those. On the first transition, we learned about the importance of being present in the moment, to actually stop our ADHD mind and body and also our emotions, okay, for a second, to stop the machine, because it is the machine-like sort of image of ourselves, that keeps us in this robotic machine-like reality. So first we have to awaken to our own humanness. This was on the first day. On the second day, I reminded us how important it is to actually be present with ourselves. To connect with our true self. And also the, spirit guides, the spirit supporters, our guardian angels, our angels, that hold the space for us, that keep the memory of all our lifetimes, that basically stand by us and go through all of our experiences, but without interfering, just with a silent sort of nudge, okay? And then on the third day, when we talked about the archangels and how the archangels sort of represent the messengers, okay? This tuning into what is out there, what we feel maybe as sort of collective task, that comes in through the archangels, that we feel in those forecasts and all the workshops and so forth. I talk a lot about our collective task at this time, what we need to overcome. That's the ability sort of to own our own reality, to step into something like, seeing ourselves as a part of something bigger. And then the archai, that sort of set the tone for these different seasons, these different eons, not seasons in a yearly cycle, but in this sort of cosmic cycle, where we have to go through larger developmental evolutionary processes, that allows us to connect really with our higher self, having a reason to send us here at this time, to connect with maybe not our individual purpose yet, but to connect that there is a purpose, there is a greater plan. And then we connected with the exousiai, with these angel beings that bring in sort of conscious choice, that bring in the ability for us to recognize like sort of why we're here, that we actually have the freedom to choose. This is linked to the third option, that we actually have the ability to shift, to transform our thoughts, for example, or our emotions, our experiences, into something that we would like to experience. Then on day 6 we tuned into with the dynamis, the spirits of movement, the sort of forward motion of everything, that everything sort of keeps moving, and the order, the divine laws that are behind that there is a sort of a greater sort of pull into this greater reality, and that there are certain laws involved with this. Remember, those were the forces that can move, that can rotate planets. And then on day 7 we tuned into the stillness and the power of sort of intentiveness, the Divine Mother, the soul of the Divine Mother, as I called it. This was on New Year's Eve, to really sort of feel, that there are these seasonal and these rhythmic things that that we have to abide to these laws, and that there is no judgment of them. Yeah, so the Divine Mother, or the Curiosities, they remind us of non-judgment. Of just understanding that there are greater laws there, that there is a divine order and what they're for. And then on day 8, when we tuned into the future, when we try to grasp sort of the vastness of how past, present, and future is connected, and what this force is that actually pulls us into a higher version of ourselves. This synergetic force. We could feel that there's a lot of courage. There's a lot of power there. This ability to, or the knowing that you can turn any crisis into a sort of lesson, into a greater learning experience, that you can turn dark into light, that you have this power to transform, to transmute not just your experiences, but actually yourself. And then on day 9, we tuned in to the soul of the Divine Father. The direction, the power of giving it a go, of giving it, this willingness, to experience new things and recognize that through this creativity that unfolds, we are actually stepping into our self-responsible co-creation. Is an enormous power, that wants to bring things into action. An action power, if you will. And then on day 10, we tuned in to the beauty of karma. With the cherubim that actually bring, sort of or we call them the spirits of harmony, that bring in the mechanisms of how this works, and that there really aren't any mistakes, that there are only learning experience, that every perceived mistake is taken by our higher self and then turned into a new task. So if we don't do this according to our own virtues, well, then we just do it again. We call this karma, without judgment, without seeing it as good or bad. And then yesterday we tuned into the seraphim, the highest of the spiritual hierarchies, the spirits of love, and realized that the currency of the universe, the logos, what I called the logos earlier, the actual sort of principle on which everything, including sort of the handing down, the supporting, the caring, for all those that are ascending, that is basically the power on which we all run. We all run on this power of divine love, and the selfless giving. And for us as human spirit beings, selflessness is experienced through the surrender of our ego. The surrender of our ego reality. The surrender of our limited thinking, emoting, and acting into a higher state, into the mastery of our thoughts, the mastery of our feelings, and the mastery of our will. So with investigating these different powers that are working through us, at all times, that are giving us these powers, that all we need to do is actually connect with them. I call this remember them, to remind ourselves that they are there. These mysteries of the holy nights are not really mysteries anymore. Truth is not a mystery anymore. When you learn to use the higher power of your thinking, the higher consciousness in you, when you learn to use the higher power of feeling in you, love is not a mystery anymore. A mystery is only a mystery for as long as we're not aware of it, for as long as we're not paying attention to it, for as long as we're not connecting with it. The moment we make it a truth, the moment we build this bridge and walk on it, and the spiritual reality that we couldn't see before because we didn't believe or think that it existed. At the moment we do this, it removes all fear and powerlessness that resides in our unconscious. Okay, so it is by making the unconscious conscious, this active step, that we are liberating ourselves from the confines, the limitations of our egos. And this is the important message here, that it has to be an active step. It's a very nice sort of imagery, to feel yourself surrounded by angels and spirit beings that are supporting you and that are providing you with sort of extra help. But it is an ego mistake to believe that they will do it for you. That's not how this goes. That's not why I'm doing this. The message here is that now that you know what is out there and in you, to more consciously connect with it and to recognize the enormity of all that had to be done, that had to happen, that had to develop over millions and billions of years, just so that we can have the spiritual experience of our higher self and develop our higher consciousness. And to perhaps even partake in that we are not just remembering these forces and these spirit beings involved in this, but that we are also contemplating our role in this, what we can give to them. Think of it this way. When someone gifts you love, when someone loves you, when someone truly loves you, what do you need to do? Do you need to make them gifts? Do you need to sacrifice things for them? No. You acknowledge that love. It doesn't mean that you have to be in a romantic relationship with someone. It's not the point. The point is a different one. You acknowledge it. You reflect it. Because when someone loves you, when someone gives you this gift of love, it turns something on in you. And that is what these spirit beings have done for us. So, if we want love, if we want true love in our life, if we want this feeling of connection, unconditional, peace and harmony, that's when you are actually tuning in to the Holy Spirit. That's when you are tuning into this divine consciousness that is speaking through all these different layers, sheaths, or dimensions of reality. It speaks to you and wants to find its reflection in you. And you can give this back by appreciating it. Yeah, by saying, I feel you. I love it. Yeah. This is who I want to be. This is who I am. And when you arrive at this awareness, which this little series here of 12 mini lectures has perhaps assisted you in sort of getting a better feeling for what it actually is that you're supposed to do here, why you're here, who you are, where you're going. Then you start to more actively participate in your life. Because then you realize that you were given the choice to decide whom you want to live this life as and what you want to contribute, what you want to leave behind. This is what divine consciousness in you can do for you. So now that you know Spirit, now that you know truth, that you know freedom, that you know love, you know purpose. Now, all this is no longer a mystery. It makes me tear up. Tomorrow in our last live stream, we're going to talk about the secrets of the Epiphany. Yeah, what that actually means. Think about how we use the word epiphany. We say we've had an epiphany. That is a sudden inspiration. So with this, I will just let you go now. Enjoy this 12th transition between the holy nights, and then we see each other one more time tomorrow to discuss the deeper aspects of the Epiphany, January 6th. Bye-bye. Divine Consciousness. I am. I am awake. I am home. I am the way. It reminds me of the freedom to choose what I am aligning myself to. I am the truth. It reminds me that there is a light in me that prompts me to feel and express truth. I am the life. It reminds me of grace within and my courage and integrity to trust in feeling and expressing love. is my choice. Divine love is all that I am. As for as long as I remember that, I am one with the divine consciousness and the divine order that is within all. My body, my mind, my spirit, heart and soul, and all their error perceptions. I can love truth more than my ego. With every breath in, I choose to allow the sacredness of the divine Trinity within. And with every breath out, I choose to let go and clear all thoughts, emotions, sensations, and sentiments that do not serve to empower me to be me. I take this sacred moment to consciously feel how my inner and outer connection strengthens, heals, and nurtures my sacred heart so that I can live and create a life as a conscious soul self. I love the light. I joyfully serve the light within. And I devote my heart to become a beacon of divine light shining forth in this world. And my sacred self to be the keeper of this flame. Here and now, and at all times.